Greetings, friends. I'm certified resume strategist and internet personality, Greg Langstaff, and you have found my free resume writing course. I've spent 15 plus years as a recruiter, a hiring manager, and a job search coach helping people to find jobs they love. I've written over 2,000 resumes, and my job search content on social media has reached over 1 billion video views. And I say all this not to brag, my friends, but simply to let you know that you are in good hands. So today, in this free course here on YouTube, I'm going to provide you with everything you need to write an amazing resume that's going to help you get a job you will love. So in this course, we are going to cover selecting the right resume templates, using keywords to optimize our resumes so we get through the ATS scanners and impress the hiring managers. We'll talk about how we can use ChatGPT to help us through the resume writing process. We will cover why you should absolutely never start your resume with your experience and what to put at the start instead. We're going to talk about how to get the hiring managers excited to read our resume. We'll talk about how to make our experience pop so that when people are reading the things we've done, they'll think, oh wow, you did that for them? I want you to come do that for me. We'll talk about how to sell ourselves in an impressive way that's not awkward. And we'll talk about everything else that goes in your resume, followed by things to not ever do in your resume. Now, throughout this video, my friends, I have hidden 3 specific instructions, and if you follow those instructions, you will be automatically entered in a draw to win one of my quarterly free resume reviews. So stick around and pay attention throughout because they're very easy instructions to follow, and I'd love to have a chance to review your resume totally free. So keep an eye out for that. And by the way, if at any point in this process you are feeling overwhelmed or you don't have time to write your own resume or you just don't want to do this by yourself, my team and I offer resume writing services. They are available down below. You can take a look at any time if you're interested. Now, let's get started. So first, give me 10 seconds to talk about the mindset we need to have when we're writing our resume, because a lot of people get this wrong. So when job searching, think of yourself as like a product on Amazon, and your resume is the product page. The job description is the list of features that the hiring manager needs to see in you as a product to make a purchase. So the job of the resume is to show them that each of the features they're looking for are things that we have and we do a great job at. Does that make sense? Excellent, because I'm going to keep elaborating on that analogy moving forward. Now, you may not be familiar with ATS scanners or applicant tracking systems, but essentially because online job applications now get hundreds of applicants, hiring managers don't have time to read every single one of those resumes that come in. So an ATS scanner is evaluating the resumes automatically to give the hiring manager a list of top candidates that they can take a proper look at. So yes, this does mean your resume could be thrown in the trash before anyone even reads it. To get past those ATS scanners though, you just need 2 things. First, you need the right keywords in your resume so that it flags you as qualified. And second, you need an ATS-friendly resume template to ensure that the scanners can read everything that's in your resume properly. I'll explain how to navigate both of these 2 things right now. By the way, if you're not sure if your current resume is ATS-friendly, I do offer video resume review services, which you can see details about down below. So let's talk about resume templates for a second. Picking the perfect resume template is really a matter of balancing eye-catching and professional in the presentation of the materials on our resume, while also ensuring that we choose a layout and a document format that is going to be read properly by those ATS scanners we were talking about. So there are a few things you need to do to make sure that your template is ATS friendly. First off, we want to make sure we are using simple colors. Black and white is great. Throw in a bit of gray, a bit of blue, a bit of pink, that's fine as well, but we don't want to overdo it on the colors for sure. Next, same, keep the font simple. I usually say 2 fonts is all you need, 1 is also fine. Third, we want to stay away from text boxes. Any content made in a text box can alter the order in which the ATS is reading the information on your resume. We also obviously want to avoid any sort of strange graphics. Again, this could affect the readability, and also most of the time a graphic is going to make your resume look a little less professional as well. Third, the best and safest layout for a resume is a traditional one-column layout, and I'll show you what I mean by this in a second. If you do want to use a two-column layout, something a little more modern and fun-looking, you can. You just want to make sure that this is not made using text boxes, but is made using Microsoft Word using its columns feature. An ATS scanner can read this just fine, but when we get into text boxes that are here, here, and here, and here, it starts to mess up the order in which it reads the information. So let me show you some examples. So on the left, you will see a template that simply does not work. We have far too many graphics. Obviously, we don't need a picture, and the text is all, again, built out using text boxes. On the right, we see something a little more conservative, and that kind of color, that yellow, that's fine. But this is also a template made using text boxes, so the ATS scanner is going to have a lot of trouble with this. Now in the middle, we see one that is technically ATS friendly, but it lacks sort of any pop or any eye-catching features to it. It's a very boring and dull resume, and of course we don't want to come across as boring and dull either, because we need to show the people who we're applying to these jobs for that we are going to put in effort to sort of present the best version of ourselves, because that's how they're going to expect us to perform when we're on the job as well. So let me show you some good resume templates. So here we have 3 fantastic resume templates. When I'm writing resumes for my clients, I use templates like these all the time. They're eye-catching, they're professional, and they're ATS friendly. The one in the middle that you see here, this is my most popular template, and it has gotten jobs for hundreds of different people. The template on the left, this is my crown jewel of resume templates. This one is by far the highest converting template I have ever used. I try to use this for as many of my clients as possible because it converts so well. If you like the look of these templates, I have linked to my resume templates down below that are available on my website. I have all of these on there. I have free templates, I have premium templates. Go check it out so you don't have to do this tedious template design part of the resume writing process all by yourself. And if you like many of my resume templates and you also want a matching cover letter template and a little extra help on how to fill out those templates, check out some of my resume and cover letter bundles that are linked down here. I have a brand new one that I'm super excited about that includes how to use ChatGPT to write your resume. Those are all available, linked down below in my resume and cover letter bundles, so check them out. So once you've chosen a great resume template, the next essential step in building out your resume is keywording. So to do that, I'm going to show you how we find the hiring manager's secret checklist that includes all the keywords that they're looking for when they're shopping for their new employee. Once we know this, we can fill our resume with keywords in all the right ways. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. To do this, you just have to do a couple of things. First, get yourself a free copy of my hiring manager's secret checklist document. This is a Google Sheet and I've linked to it down below. Once you have this, head over to ChatGPT and you're going to type in this prompt here and then copy and paste a couple of job postings that you're interested in underneath this. And that's how we're going to get those 19 key skills that we want to populate into our resume. These are the keywords that the ATS scanners and the hiring managers are going to be looking for. Once ChatGPT provides you with those skills, you can pop them into this key skills column here in our secret checklist. And you might have to use your brain to fine-tune these a little bit into 2 to 3 word skills. But now you have what you need to start populating your resume with the keywords that the ATS scanners are going to be looking for. And throughout the rest of the course, I'm going to explain to you how to integrate these throughout all the various facets of your resume. For more ChatGPT prompts to help you write your resume, check out my ebook, The ChatGPT Resume. I've linked to this down below. And for more detail on this exact step, check out the other video I created that's on the screen now. Now let's talk a little bit about professional branding. So as I've mentioned many times in my social media, it is essential that we do not start our resumes with our professional experience. Now there's 2 reasons for this. One, The hiring managers reading all these resumes have an attention span for us of about 5 to 10 seconds. So we need to do some things to get them really excited about our resume so that they'll actually go in and read our bullet points in detail. The second reason is because we are also up against these ATS scanners that are reviewing our resume for keywords, professional branding tools, which I'm going to show you in a second, give us a lot of opportunity to just insert keywords without any context just to help us get through those ATS scanners a little easier. That's why we love starting our resumes with these professional branding tools that I'm going to show you how to use right now. Now, there are 4 main types of branding that we can use in our resume. I like all 4 of these, but I'll never do more than 3 of them in any one given resume, so let me explain them all to you, and then you can pick which ones you like and just go with those. So our 4 options are professional title, a professional summary, a key skills or areas of expertise section, and then a career highlights section. So let me walk you through these one at a time. So first we have a professional title or titles. Here we're just telling them really who we are in a couple of key phrases. So what you do to populate this section, if you choose to use it, go to your key skills list that we just created, pick out your top 2 or 3 skills, and pop them in here in the professional titles section. Just make sure you are phrasing them so that they are describing you as a person and not just listing the skills. So if project management was your top skill, you might call yourself project manager in your professional title here. Or if it was B2B sales as a skill that needed to appear, you could call yourselves a B2B sales executive. You can see here I have another example of a few different options you can choose. So for professional summary, here is my formula. In sentence 1, we're going to tell them how many years experience we have in the industry that we're applying to work in or that we currently work in. Sentence 2, we're just going to sort of outline what our best skill or skills are. Sentence 3, it's nice to show them your greatest accomplishment, something to get them really excited to read the rest of the resume. And 4, I like to tell them something about being a team player or some of your interpersonal skills or interests. And if you want, you can use mine word for word. Here's an example. Borrow this as much as you need to, especially that last sentence. It's kind of written to just work for anyone and everyone. Now, if you feel like you need a little more help on your professional summary, I go into detail on my top 5 favorite professional summaries here in this video. You can check that out while you're writing your professional summary. Now, when it comes to this areas of expertise section, you can really just dump in 12 to 16 of those skills we got on our hiring manager's secret checklist. This is going to get people very excited to read more about your bullet points, and of course, it's going to trigger the ATS scanners to tell everyone you are qualified. Now, on to career highlights, which is one of my favorites, but it is a little more advanced, so if you'd rather just stick with a professional summary, those are a bit easier to write. However, I find a career highlight can be very, very impactful, so let me explain how to do it. Firstly, we're going to pick our 3 top skills, and we can reuse the skills that we put in our professional title. That's totally fine. This time, though, we're going to list them as skills, so project management comes back to being project management as opposed to describing yourself as a project manager. And then we are going to, for each of these 3 skills, provide an example of when we've done that skill really well, or we'll tell them how many years we have of experience using that skill. So here are some examples just to see what that looks like. As I said, this does overlap a little bit with the professional summary, so I would recommend probably just choosing one of those because they do largely the same thing. I just like the way this one's presented a little bit more, but they're both really great. So the experience section is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of getting the hiring managers interested enough to invite us in for an interview. This part generally takes the longest to create, but it's so worth it. So let's dive in. Writing the job headings is easy. We just start with our job title in bold, as you see here. Then we go with the company name, the location of the company, and then the dates that we were with that company, including months. Then we have the 2 essential pieces to this. First, I highly recommend adding a little overview to provide context to the reader before you get into your bullet points. These overviews will include 4 things. So the first thing that goes in these job interviews is an action verb to describe how you got into the role. This could be something pretty simple like, recruited to, promoted into, or joined. In fact, here is a list of all of my favorite action verbs. Let me get my head out of the way. And up top, you can see I have action verbs that are going to explain how we got into the role. We use these for the overview. And then just take a photo or screenshot of all my other action verbs because we're going to be using those in our bullet points as we describe all the work we did in each of these roles as well. So once we start with our action verb, then we're going to describe the size of the organization. We're going to describe what type of an organization it is. And then we're just going to list out our high-level responsibilities as well. Here are a couple examples of what that looks like. As you can see, all of these start with a nice action verb. They describe the size and type of organization, and then we just get into high-level responsibilities. And in the bullet points to come are where we're going to talk about specific responsibilities and accomplishments, so this just needs to be very high level. So that overview section was very simple, no need to stress over that at all. And now that they have the context they need to find our bullet points impressive, let's get into writing those impressive bullet points. So everything else in the resume is very important, but the job of all that other stuff, of the branding and the overviews, is to get the reader to our bullet points so that they're excited to see exactly what we've done, how we've helped the companies in the past, and that will position them to start thinking about how we can help them and their company as well. And that's the mindset we want them in for us to convert this resume into an interview. So there are 3 types of bullet points that people will put into their resume. Only 2 of them are acceptable. Type 1 is what we call a weak sauce bullet point. This is a rudimentary description of the work that you've done that would be more applicable at a party and not appropriate at all for a resume. People with weak sauce bullet points like this one do not get hired. Type 2 is what we call a descriptive bullet point. Now these can be great in a resume. The key to determining if your descriptive bullet point is descriptive enough is, would this bullet point make sense in someone else's resume? If your bullet point could be copied and pasted into someone else's resume, it's not descriptive enough. We want enough detail that this is applicable to only you. So just for example, this is a bad descriptive bullet point because it is completely generic. This, however, is a great descriptive bullet point because it's so specific it could only be applicable to one person. Now, these are great, but the best type of bullet point is yet to come. So type 2 is solid, and many bullet points are going to look like that. But the best bullet points we can put in our resume, and we want as many of these as possible, is the 3rd type, what I call a badass bullet point. If we want to prove that we are very good at the stuff that we've done, which we do want to do in our resume experience section, we need as many badass bullet points as possible. Badass bullet point formula includes 3 things: action verbs, specific and quantifiable detail, and results. So let me walk you through what each of those looks like in these 2 examples we have here. So our action verbs, as you see here, managed, streamlined, and remember from the slide earlier where I showed you all my action verbs, you can use those to start off your resume bullet points with a nice pop. Next, specific and quantifiable detail. This is going to take up the bulk of the bullet points. We want, again, things here that only apply to our resume. This includes exactly what we were doing with as many numbers and details as possible. Generally, a good bullet point in your resume will take up 2 lines of the page. 1 is also okay. 3 maybe is a bit too much detail. So 2 is a nice number to look for. 3 is okay once in a while. So here we have some specific and quantified detail. This tells them exactly what we were doing. It's exactly what we want. Now these alone would be pretty solid descriptive bullet points. But again, to go that extra step and make sure that they know that when we did these things, we did a great job and it turned into great results for our employer, we need to add these results. So here's what that looks like. We can now see that when our person who did these things was doing them, it turned into very solid outcomes for their employer. And that's what we want to accomplish in our resume bullet points. Now at this point you might be asking yourself, what do I write my bullet points about? Good news, my friends. You already have the answer. To decide what to write our bullet points about, we're just going to refer back to this hiring manager's secret checklist and all the key skills that we identified alongside our pal ChatGPT. Using this sheet, we will just fill out in the next two columns some examples of times when we use those skills, and then that is what we're going to write our bullet points about using the badass bullet point formula that I just described. So once you fill this out, it's going to look a little something like this. And again, as much detail as you can throw in here, the better. That's just going to help you write even more detailed bullet points. And if you don't want to write all your bullet points from scratch, my friends, help is here. I wrote this ebook, 540 Badass Bullet Points for Your Resume. I've linked to this down below. It's got great samples. You can use them word for word if you want, or tweak them as needed. You have my full permission to do so for your own resumes. And if you're really stuck and even the book isn't helping, my team and I do offer one-on-one resume writing services. You can find details about that down below as well. Now, step 2 of this little treasure hunt to win a free resume review, all you have to do is comment on this video. You can ask a question, you can tell me thanks for the advice, or if you're really not sure what to write, tell me that you like my hair. Any of those 3 would be totally fine. Any comment at all. So, experience, obviously, as I mentioned, the most important part of our resume. And now that we've got that covered, we're going to be picking up the pace a bit to cover everything else that needs to go in a resume. So, hold on to your hats. So, the education section comes next, and for most of us, that's going to be right down towards the bottom. We're just going to give them the essential information they need. What was the credential we earned, such as Master of Arts? What was our discipline, the thing we were studying, such as digital marketing? Then we'll give them the school that we were at and the location of that school, and then we will not give them the year we graduated. The reason being, they will use that information to estimate our age, and then very often that is used against us. The only exception to having your education at the end of your resume is if you are either a current student, you've graduated in the last 3 years, or you recently went back to school with the intention of changing careers. And if you fit into any of those categories, I also have these 2 videos that you might find interesting on career-changing resumes and resumes for people with little to no experience. So check those out. And if you have any other certificates or training programs, you can either just list them within your education section, or you can make a separate section like this and call it certifications or training or anything you really like. Next, let's talk about arranging our resume. What order should the content go in? This is pretty straightforward. We start with our professional branding, then our experience, then our education, and then anything else we find relevant. Other sections we can often include additional certifications and training, awards and recognition, volunteer experience, technical proficiencies, which is a popular one to add. It's just a list of all the technical skills and software we're proficient with. We can add in also languages if we speak a few languages. Publications and presentations are very popular among academics, professors, and such. And there's other sections you can include too. These are just some of the most popular ones. And as we've covered, the ones on the left here are the things that are most important going into your resume. Now, in this next section, we are just going to rapid fire through some things to absolutely not do in your resume. Okay, so these are 5 things that I see a lot of people still doing in their resume, but you absolutely should not do these things. So first off, resume no-nos advice. Do not write in first person. This means avoiding I and we. Second, keep your resume to roughly 2 pages. There's no rules about your resume being a specific length, and sometimes like a new grad could do fine with a 1-page resume, and sometimes a professor or a doctor could do well with a 4-page resume. For almost all of us, 2 pages is the sweet spot. Next, the no-no here is lie. Don't lie, be honest. If you lie in your resume, it's very likely that you're found out at some point, at which time you've lost the trust of tons of different people, people you're working with, people you might be working with. You could get blacklisted from your entire industry, and that's bad. Next, we want to keep the resume design simple. Just go back, reflect on what we talked about when it came to resume templates. Check out the resume templates I have linked down below. Those are nice, simple, but professional looking resumes that'll work with the ATS scanners and be easy for hiring managers to read and follow. And finally, once you have your resume ready to go, don't use the spray and pray method. This is where we apply to hundreds of jobs online in a very short amount of time. The people I hear back from having the most trouble with their job search are the ones who tell me they applied to 50, 80, 100 jobs in 2 weeks. That is not an appropriate way to go about this. We want to be intentional about applying to jobs that are a good fit for us, and we want to put in the work to make sure our resume matches well with those jobs. So if you go through this entire process and you're still not feeling sure that your resume is great, or maybe you're worried you're making one of these mistakes and you're not sure, just a reminder, I do have video resume review services, which you can see details of down below. And speaking of resume reviews, if you want to enter for that free resume review, you just have one more step. I'm going to tell you all about it in just 30 seconds from now. And before we do that, one last thing. Now, there are many pieces to job searching aside from writing a great resume. We've got cover letters, we've got LinkedIn, we've got interviews, we've got networking, we have finding great jobs. Now, I want to make sure that you are nailing every single part of this, so this great new resume that you're putting together isn't going to waste. And to help you do that, I have 2 resources I want to tell you about. First, I created a program called Job Search Institute. This is the summation of all my best job search advice, all in one place. I have many mini courses within the Job Search Institute. Here's what it looks like. We have my best course I've ever created, How to Write a Winning Resume. It walks through a lot of the stuff we've been covering today, but in a lot more detail. We have the ChatGPT resume. This is an ebook I wrote that has prompts on how to use ChatGPT to help you with your resume, speed things up, write a little better, sound more professional. I included that in Job Search Institute. We also have how to write a winning cover letter in under 20 minutes, because that is the maximum anyone should spend on a cover letter. We cover LinkedIn, how to build an amazing LinkedIn profile. We talk about how to network effectively without being awkward in online situations. We talk about how to crush your interviews. There's a whole course on this. I'm wearing a suit. It's very fancy and fun. And then there's a ton of other content around managing your mental health while job searching, tracking your job applications, finding the best job applications online, and a whole lot more. And for anyone who has gone through this entire resume writing course with me here, I wanted to offer you 75% off Job Search Institute. So that is linked down below. The promo code is down there as well. I would love to see you in that program. And another brand new program that I'm just putting together now, set to launch March 2024, and we'll do a couple cohorts of this every year, is a group coaching program. Because sometimes job searching is kind of a lonely process. So it's nice to have people to kind of walk through it together. And of course, nice to have some professional guidance as well. This is going to include live webinars weekly, a Q&A portal so you can ask your specific questions that are plaguing you in your job search. It's going to include resume reviews, job search challenges that we participate in together, step-by-step guides on how to do all of the parts of the job search, free templates, free ebooks, free courses, so much more, all included in this program. And again, first cohort is launching March 2024, and we'll do a couple cohorts a year as we move forward. So check that out, also linked down below. Now, both of those programs are linked down in the description below. I'd love to see you in one of them so we can get you into a job that you absolutely love. Okay, my friend, the last thing you need to do to enter to win a free video resume review is very simple. Like this video. That's all. And remember, you deserve a job you love. So grateful you chose to trust me as part of your job search process, and I am looking forward to hearing about all your success moving forward. Good luck, my friend.